counter coughed, and I looked up a little embarrassed. "I need to pop it back in the box," he said. Of course, I said, tugging it off. "It's so beautiful." Ben smiled as he handed over his credit card, and just like that, my brother had taken his first step to getting married. Or perhaps it was technically his second step, as he'd actually got engaged a few years ago when he'd proposed with a ring from a Christmas cracker. He'd told his fiancée that he'd get her a better ring one day, and after a recent work promotion, he'd finally been able to make good on the promise. "I can't believe you're going to do this," I said, looping my arm through his as we left the store. "We've been engaged for 3 years. It's hardly a shocker." "I know. But this is really it, though, isn't it? You've got the proper ring, and you're going to set a proper date. This is huge. We should celebrate." I was going to head straight back to the station. I don't really want to be walking round London with it. He hugged his backpack tighter to his chest. He looked like such a tourist, wearing it over his front. I pulled out my phone and read a message. "Cameron's going to the Founder's Arms. It's just over the river from here. Why don't we go and have a quick drink with him before I walk you back to Waterloo?" Ben looked at his watch, and I could tell he was uneasy, but I hadn't seen him in ages. The afternoon had whizzed by, and there was still so much to catch up on. "Okay, but the drinks are on you, as I don't think I can ever afford to drink again after buying that." "Ben, I hope you're not getting into debt for the ring. It's not like the wedding will be cheap, and—" "Izzy, I'm kidding." "Good," I said with relief. "Of course I'll buy you a celebratory drink anyway. Plus, I can't wait for you to meet Cameron." "Oh yes, the famous Cameron. I'm intrigued to meet him too." It felt strange that they'd not met before, but my life in London seemed so far removed from my family and friends back home in Basingstoke. The two might only be an hour apart by train, but you think I was from Timbuktu, judging by the reaction I'd get from Cameron when I suggested we visit. I think he expected that he'd turn to dust if he left the Greater London area, like a vampire entering a church. I stifled a yawn as we weaved through the empty streets. During the week, the same ones would be full of city workers bustling about, but at the weekend they were deserted. "Late night?" asked Ben. "Kind of, but it's been one of those weeks where every night's been a late one. I don't know how you do it. I can barely manage going out at the weekend now." "That's what happens when you're old and settled. You get a mortgage, you get married, and next you'll be losing your hair like Dad." He rubbed at his hair. "Oi, I'm only 2 years older than you, and I'm not receding quite yet. Plus, I'm not married yet either." Ben's been with his fiancée Becca for 15 years. They met at school, and I think of them as an old married couple. It's been a cruel wait for my mum to splash out on an over-the-top mother-of-the-groom hat, and for me, who wants to be their bridesmaid. "So, does this mean you're going to have to propose all over again?" "Oh, God, I don't know, does it? That was the whole point of proposing with the cracker ring. It was supposed to be whimsical. I think that would have been fine if you'd then produced the real ring soon afterwards, but 3 years? I think you'll have to do it again, and with a ring like that it deserves to be properly romantic." He groaned. "Don't worry, I'll help you think of something." By the time we crossed over the river to the pub, we'd come up with a sneaky proposal plan that was both romantic and personal. I'd shed a few happy tears, and Ben was once again grateful I'd helped him out. We arrived at the pub before Cameron and his friends, so we ordered drinks and took them out onto the terrace. We managed to find a recently vacated table on the edge, still covered with empty glasses. "Will you take my photo?" I said, looking over at the view over the Thames towards St. Paul's on the other side. I didn't bother to wait for a reply. I simply held out my phone to Ben and struck a pose. "Is this for your Instagram? I see you're doing really well. Over 500 followers," he said. "I know, can you believe it?" "I told you I had a good feeling about it," he said, snapping.